Hello! So we are here with the Enstarz Insider series. Today we're doing a comedy insider with Laura Hi.
Hello!
Yay!
Hi!
Hello! I'm so excited you're here.
I'm so excited to be here. How are you
Yay.
doing?
I'm doing well. How's your day going?
My day is delightful. I'm here, so I'm doing great.
Oh, yay. So a little about Laura before I jump into questions, and then you'll learn all the things about her as well. She's a comedian. She's headlined at Caroline's, super viral on TikTok, brought a lot of awareness to donor conception and laws regarding that in the world. Very interesting. But starting off with a fun, silly question. What is the strangest venue you've ever performed comedy in?
Oh, I have a lot of answers to this one. Hands down, my favorite was a bar in Connecticut, and the stage was the stairwell to the basement. That will always be my favorite one.
Wait, what bar? Can I ask?
I don't remember. It was so long ago, and I blocked it out, and it was so bad. It was the first time I also ever performed 20 minutes. And it was a 20 minutes to remember. I'm pretty sure I clocked in at maybe 3 laughs, which is, that's not a good laugh per minute ratio when you have 20 minutes. But it was on a stairwell, and I remember the bar back, like, carrying, like, giant, things of beer, like, in front of me down the stairwell, and just being like, I'm in everybody's way. So that was definitely that was a rough venue.
So was he walking in and out of the set, like up and down the stairs? Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, what's nice is at 3 laughs a minute, you could always just be like, thanks so much, and just like run away up the stairs.
3 laughs for the 20 minutes, yeah. Mm-hmm. No, if I was doing 3 laughs per minute for 20 minutes, on a stairwell, I'm going to take that as a win. No, this was 3 laughs for the 20 minutes.
I was going to say, you were like 3 laughs. I was like, wow, you know what? Like, good for you, high standard, but like, that's not the worst I've ever heard of. Like,
No. No. Yeah, no, this was, I think I clocked maybe 3 laughs for that 20 minutes.
Nice. We love that. We love a good, strange venue, nice long set story. Every great comedian has one. I'm a big fan of your comedy in general, honestly.
Thank you.
Whenever I'm talking to people or they've seen your stuff or at Mike's and stuff, they're like, that one person was very funny. I'm like, that's Laura Hi, and she's the best. But on that, getting into comedy is such a weird thing, and I think people talk a lot about, your first set or the first time you did comedy. But what is the thing, is there like a moment that stands out in your life that kind of drew you to comedy? And I don't necessarily mean in a stand-up sense. I mean more like, you were at dinner and you realized you could make everyone laugh, and that was nice.
Oh, yeah. I mean, when you grow up in a family where there's a lot of unchecked PTSD and mental illness, you have 2 options. You either lean into the PTSD or you become the funny one to buffer. And that's what I did. And so I became the buffer of my family. My family's wonderful. My family's great. That's not to say anything bad about my family. But my family has definitely a rough history. We've definitely gotten the short end of the stick in many ways. I am the descendant of Holocaust survivors. So, when you got like Auschwitz, talk at the dinner table, there's only so many places to go. And so I became definitely more of the levity in the family, because I realized that my family would stop fighting if I ran into walls.
That makes sense, yeah.
And so that's what I did, and I would be, and so I was just like, well, that works. I'm just gonna keep doing that, And it worked, and it was great, and it was definitely a coping mechanism that I do talk to my therapist about. Like, I'm very aware that it's like, we need to work on this, but it also became a great sense of joy for me, and still very much to this day, one of my favorite noises ever is my mother's laughter. My mother's laughter is genuinely one of my favorite things. I love making my mom laugh. Her laugh is so contagious. Actually, my most viral video on TikTok is my mother laughing. And it's a video about that. It was the first time I headlined Caroline's, and I'm doing a joke, and the joke's doing fine. It's kind of meh. But my mom's laugh during it is so loud, and it is so piercing. And you see my face, and you see me going... And if you don't know, Caroline's is a pretty big venue. Like, it can hold like 350 people, and I've got like 250 in it. And I can my mom's laugh is just over anybody's. So I just stop and I'm like, give my mom a second. And the whole audience just stops, they laugh, they applaud. It was a really cool moment. I didn't expect that reaction. And it's just it's a cute interaction between my mom and I'm just like, are you good? We're good. Like, is it okay if I continue? And she gives me her okay. And we caught it on film, and it's like 6.1 million views on it on TikTok. Yeah, it's crazy. It's really weird. But actually, I love that is my most viral video. I love that it is because her laughter is something that has kept me going in this industry. It has brought me such joy. And whenever I hear her laughter at a club, whenever she's at one of my shows, it genuinely brings me so much happiness. So I don't want to just make me sound like, I'm just a comedian because I need validation and love, which is true, I do. But that was definitely the first source of it, was I'm the buffer. But as I continued to learn how to make people laugh, I realized how much I love the sound of laughter. Just the genuine sound of it, and what that means that you are invoking. When you are laughing, that's all you're doing. You're not thinking about anything else. You are not thinking about, oh shit, the car payment, or the fight I just had with my husband, or I'm still waiting for the test results of that medical test. You're just laughing. And the ability to give a person a break from whatever they're going on and just giving them some peace is such an amazing feeling. And growing up watching stand-up comedians, growing up and watching just these incredible performers and how they are able to tap into these deep recesses in your mind and being able to invoke thoughts that you didn't really even realize you had, I thought was so cool and so powerful. And watching them just shine light into dark places, I thought was just so magical, and I just wanted so desperately to do that.
Yeah. There are so many different ways to view comedy, but the real essence of it all around is always just to bring laughter and to bring joy. Yep. So it's kind of a flashlight medium. That's not a real thing.
A flashlight medium.
Flashlight medium.
Flashlight medium. Yes.
Yeah. Now it's been said multiple times. It's legitimized.
You say it long enough, it catches on.
Exactly. So working
hashtag flashlight medium.
Hashtag flashlight medium. But working within, so you say that your mom, you loved the sound of your mom's laugh. Mm-hmm. Your mom's at Caroline's. Asking, I think, a question a lot of comedians are interested in. A lot of comedians don't let their parents see their comedy. Have you let yours see it from the beginning? How do they feel about the comedy? Was there a point where you're like, okay, now you may?
No, my mom came to my very, very, very first ever show. My dad was at my second show. So they've been there since the absolute beginning. I've really struck gold when it came to very supportive parents with this. They are, and they have been behind me since day one. Because I have a theater degree, and I did theater in school, throughout middle school, high school, elementary school. So for me, they have been behind me since day one. They have been like, nope, this is what Laura wants to do. We know she can do it, and we love her, and we support her. And they are always the first people to buy tickets, and they are always there front and center. And I am utterly privileged and utterly lucky that I've got parents like that, and they are right behind me. There have been some jokes that they have not seen yet, but that'll be they'll see them when I have my special, and I'm buying them dinner to bribe them for not disowning me.
I also come from a theater background, and my parents saw the first ever comedy show I ever did live also, and I will never forget the moment that I made eye contact with my mom while saying the word orgy. That was a real moment for the family, you know? But yeah. I wonder, do you think that because I also come from like a theater background, and I studied theater in school, do you think that not to say that everyone who goes into theater has supportive parents about it, I'm not saying that at all, but do you think that the lack of hesitation and being like, I can invite my parents to this comes from a background and like, oh, they're going to come see this play, so they see the comedy and they're like, oh, I'm going to come to this as well? Or do you think they're different entities?
I think it depends, because obviously, like, if you are, doing like Oklahoma is very different than like, well, this one night stand when I saw this guy's dick. Two very different circumstances. And I think it depends. I think it depends on your comedy. And I think it depends on like what kind of plays that they've seen you in. You know, or if you've just done like Rodgers and Hammerstein plays, I think that you might not have as easy as a transition. I think it depends. And I think it depends also what's in you and the stuff that is calling upon you to talk about in your stand-up. Because what ends up happening is the stuff that you are drawn towards to talk about your stand-up, the stuff that's like in you that's like trying like desperately to crawl out. There's a lot of people who just really are like, I'm not ready to share that shit with my parents. Yeah. And that one I think is a very universal, and I don't think that even being a theater major or coming from a theater background will stop that.
True. That there are definitely things that I'm like, they're not seeing this one's the midnight sun.
I mean, there are people, and I mean, again, and this is also with people with a theater background, but like I've watched people do stand-up about being queer, and they haven't come out to their parents yet.
Because stand-up's such an open and vulnerable place, and it's people don't understand how much power the microphone gives. Where I was like, yeah, it's like, oh, I'm being really open on here, but like in real life, it's like you're not gonna get that much information out of me.
No, I mean, I one of the things that I'm always asked is they're like, well, don't you get like nervous being on stage? Like, and I'm like, I would rather be on stage in front of 5,000 people describing my vulva than being at a dinner party chit-chatting. I'm like, hands down. Always. I'm
no
like,
question.
No question. I'm like in a little, like, tiny little dinner party group where, like, I'm like, I don't fucking know what to do. I don't know what to do. What am I supposed to talk about? Like, this is weird. But I'm like, I'm like, I feel safer on stage.
Yes.
Always.
I completely get it, because I feel like I'll be in the middle of a conversation with people out in the wild.
Yes, out in the wild.
That's exactly what it is. And there's like no moment I can't make awkward.
Are you, okay, and especially like when you are out in the wild and you're not talking to like people in the comedy herd.
Oh my God. No.
Because there's a certain point, like when you've been doing stand-up long enough, where to be able to do stand-up, you just your filters start going away.
Yes. Oh my God.
And then you forget that. You're like, oh, we're not supposed to be talking about that to like Dick and Jane? Oh, shit. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I guess not everybody is into butt stuff. Apologies. Like, oops. All right. I'm sorry. I thought that's that's like my opening joke. I'm sorry. I didn't realize that that's like not dinner party shit. Apologies.
Oh my God, the worst is when you'll be talking and it's like, and then this, and they're like, geez, Carly, that's not. And it's like, that got really dark. No, I'm kidding. I'm so sorry, everyone. I'll excuse myself from one time I ran into a girl I hadn't seen in years on the train. If she ever sees this, no shade to her. This is all on me. But I made the mistake of like sitting next to her after not seeing her for a year. So the whole train ride in, we're talking. We pull up to Grand Central, and I'm like, joking, but also like curiosity. Like, ever wonder how many dead bodies are buried in the tracks? She didn't like
Wait, how long is it? So when was the last time you saw this?
It was probably like 8 years.
8 years? Okay, and this was like a friend from school?
Yeah, from like middle school. Like I saw her in 8th grade, and then I saw her again as like an adult.
This is genius! Oh my God, like what I would pay to have video footage, like that's the most comedic genius thing I've ever heard. Holy shit!
She did not feel that way at the time. So
then fuck her. That's like some Charlie Chaplin level of genius right there. Fuck. Oh my God.
Yeah, it was real nice, but yeah, in the wild is definitely.
I love you so much right now.
Yay! I love you too. This is great. But alright.
How many dead bodies are buried?
And I thought,
wait. Okay, no. We're sticking on this one for a little bit. Okay, now my question to you is, how long were you playing? Like, was that just did that pop in your head and it just came out and it just was like an immediate just like thought mouth? Or did you sit in your head and you're really just like, I gotta think of something, like what is gonna be the thing that cracks, or like and did you think about it and this is what you came up with?
It was kind of, because like through the train ride, it wasn't like dead silent. There were a few moments of like, oh, so like how you been? And she's like, good. And I'm like, shoot, this is going to be like a long one. I should not have sat here. And we got there and we're like kind of starting to get underground. And I'm like, come on, we have to say something. We have to say something. So it was kind of a thought mouth. Like it was a thought mouth with maybe like 2 seconds of being like, this should be fine. Or more it's like the bouncer of my mind was like, hey, are you sure you're clear? And it's like, no, go, I have no time. It's like, that's like that person always wins. But the bouncer's like, I was right, you know?
I mean... It's so perfect. It's so good. Oh, I mean... No, that was what you should say. That is what everybody should say. That is... Oh, God. I mean, but here's the thing, and here's the sad part. If she had responded properly...
Exactly.
You guys would be best friends right now.
I agree.
Oh, and that would be the best story of a friendship. I mean, oh... I'm sorry. I'm so but you know what? In some ways, that's also really good because it cuts through the bullshit really fast.
Exactly. It's like, can we hang? Can we not?
Can we hang? Can we not? Oh yeah, no. Because like, are we vibing? Are we not?
Can we assess the dead bodies in Grand Central or no?
Yes. Can we talk about the dead bodies in Grand Central? Because I'm sure you're right. There's probably
so many. There's got to be a lot.
Well, do you know how many there are in like freaking Washington Square Park?
No. Oh my God. I have not thought about it.
It was a potter's field.
Really?
Yeah. Like that used to be like the gallows. Yeah, it's like the most haunted park. That's like where the last hanging tree is. Like they have a sign on it. If we want to talk about dead bodies, we can do that.
Why is there?
Yeah, now people.
Why is there a sign on it?
Because it was the last hanging tree because they like hung the wrong girl.
That'll do it.
That'll do it. Yeah. Okay, next time you're in Washington Square Park and you run upon somebody who like you haven't seen in years, there's your new in saying, "Hey,
I wonder how many
wonder how many people he hung on that tree, right?"
Those are the building blocks of an excellent friendship.
Well, but like all of the parks were potter's fields.
Oh my gosh.
So like whenever they do construction like on Washington Square Park, they always find skeletons. They, like, literally always find skeletons.
The world is one graveyard.
It's just one giant graveyard.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, we're not safe. It's all bad. It is all, like, we are all one trip over, like, having a personal poltergeist issue.
That makes sense. That's a lot of work.
You turn over the wrong rock, you step over the wrong rock, you trip, you fall in the wrong puddle, you're gonna get haunted.
That'll give a lot of work to... Have you heard about Kesha's new show where she goes into houses and, like, talks to spirits? Because Kesha's discovered that she can talk to ghosts now.
Oh, really?
She says she's had an awakening.
Of course she has. Of course she has. Yeah, all right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and, you know, when you have that kind of awakening, the first thing you do is you go like, I have an awakening to making more money.
That is such a good point.
Yeah, all right, sure. Okay, Kesha, yeah, you talk to ghosts.
Like, okay. She took the dollar sign out of her name and put it on the ghosts.
Yeah, I mean, like, look, like, so we're both from Westchester.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Here's this. So this is my Westchester question for you. How many mediums did your mom bring you to?
Oh my God, none. Did you go to a lot of them?
2.
Oh my gosh.
Went to fucking 2 mediums.
How were those experienced? Why? Say more on any part of that, if you would like.
Oh my God. Okay. One was definitely worse. So one of them was interesting. One was like looking into your past lives, and she spoke to the angels, and she told me like, you know, she told me in a past life that I was a victim of, I was a Holocaust victim, which I'm like, yeah, all right. I mean, for me, it's like, you know, again, I actually do come from descendants of Holocaust survivors, so I'm just like, this doesn't feel appropriate, but okay. And so we talked about how I was brutally murdered, and I'm reliving all of those brutal murders in my present life because I was very accident prone as a child, so I would like literally break my legs, my fingers, like just consistently, and she's like, yes, you're reliving how you died. And I'm like, I'm 12. Thank you. And then she gave me all these homeopathic medicines that she just happened to have that will help me move through this. But the worst one, where was I? Was it in Scarsdale? It may have been. No, it wasn't Scarsdale. Was it in Greenwich? I think it was in Greenwich.
Oh my gosh.
It was in Greenwich. I went to a medium, and it was a white guy. I'm going to name him Matt. Living in the basement of a very rich person's house. And his thing was he channeled the spirit of an indigenous chief.
A few questions.
Named, if I remember correctly, apparently the indigenous chief's name is Blackhawk. If I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure that was what it was. And then the chief would tell you stuff about your past life. And looking back on it, I'm like, this is inappropriate on way too many levels. Like, this is just like, I'm like, one, you really think an indigenous chief is gonna come back into some white guy's named Matt's body? I'm like, really? That's what's gonna happen? That's what he's gonna do? That's what this spirit is going to do after everything that him and his ancestors gone through. Oh, no. He's going to continue to help the white man make profit. Yeah, that's what's going to happen. Fuck you. No.
That tracks. Absolutely.
And it's also, I'm like, and then argue, I'm like, are we sure I'm like, and now I'm also thinking, like, are we sure that this, now let's just go with this now. Let's just say this is actually happening. I'm just like, let the chief, let him be at peace. Let him be at peace. Why are you making him work for you? Why are you making him work for you? This is fucking wrong, Matt. It's fucking wrong.
Just let him be.
Just let him be. It's just wrong on so many levels. It's wrong on so many levels. And I remember, like, he would be sitting crisscross applesauce, and he's surrounded by pebbles and feathers. Oh my god. It was just all the cultural appropriation and racism all tied into one little medium.
Why was your mom bringing you, why was it like, you know what, we have your medium appointment today?
We have our medium appointment today. That's just what it was, because that's what all the parents were doing in Westchester. We were bringing your kids to the, you gotta see my medium. You gotta see them. They're really good. They're very good at helping them out with their past lives. And, you know, my kid, they're really acting up in school. And the only thing that I can think of is there must be some past life trauma that's coming up. That's what's happening. It can't be the fact that, you know, me and their dad is fighting 12 hours out of the day and keeping them up all night. No, it has to be the past life trauma.
It's probably the past life.
Probably the past life trauma. And apparently, and according to the chief, I was I was an oracle from ancient Greece.
You know what's so funny? That when I told people, I was like, oh, Laura High is coming in for this interview today. She's actually an oracle from ancient Greece.
Yes, actually, yes. It's one of my... Yeah, it's on my resume under special skills. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And again, it really is, because, like, the more I think about it, the more I realize, like, and again, like, I was, like, 12 during all of this. So just remember, this is a 12-year-old sitting next to this white guy surrounded by pebbles and feathers. And he's like, you were an oracle. And I'm like, okay. The more I think about it, the more dumb I was. And I have a joke in my stand-up about how it's just like, have you ever noticed that you were always something awesome in a past life? Always. I mean, how many girls from Brooklyn have told us, like, I was Joan of Arc?
That's so true.
Right? I'm just, oh my god. I told that joke to my mom, and my mom's immediate instinct, she was like, but I was Joan of Arc. And I'm like, yes, Mom, yes, you were Joan of Arc. Yes, of course you were. You know, someone has to be Hitler, but of course you're Joan of Arc. My fucking god. Yeah, no, I mean, I find it interesting how white people find very creative ways to continue being racist.
Yes.
I mean, I'm like, and this was hands down the most creative way we have found. I'm like, this was solid, guys. Yeah, that was so fucked up. And again, it's just, the more I sit and think about it, and I'm sitting here rethinking about it, going like, that was so bad. That was just so bad. I just shouldn't be. Oh my god. But yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's incredible.
Yeah, that's my favorite Westchester story. But Westchester is just like, it's insanely racist. It's, yeah, no, it's, we come from the land of cultural appropriation and racism. I mean, that's what we should be known for. I talk about it in my stand-up, but it's like the village that I lived in is called Indian Village, still to this day.
Yep, I know exactly where you're talking about.
Still to this day, because all the street names are named after indigenous tribes that just used to live there.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Where did they go? Oh my god.
I wonder where, weirdly, they left.
Oh my god.
What are the odds?
Oh my god, it's just so weird. Like, where'd they go? And it's just like, no, there's nobody from the Navajo living in that fucking neighborhood, I can tell you that. Oh my god. It's so bad. And all the country clubs are all named after indigenous tribes.
That is true.
And my favorite is all of the logos that they make for the indigenous tribes. The one that I lived right next to was called Appowamis.
Yep, I know that one.
Appowamis. So Appowamis is not named after like an indigenous tribe. It was named after because apparently like the tribes like called the land that we lived on in their this is all in Rye, New York, by the way, if anyone wants to look it up. Rye, R-Y-E. Appowamis, and so Appowamis was what the tribes named the land after, and so we named our golf course after it.
Naturally, as it would go.
And they decided in their brilliance that the logo is going to be a tomahawk made into a golf club.
Yeah, it's honestly one of the most problematic things I've ever seen.
And I'm just like, have you guys not been nailed for this yet? Like, how have you skirted by this issue? And it's not just them, it's all the clubs.
Oh, it's every single one.
All the clubs. All the country clubs do this. And it's... But, yeah, this is where a lot of my comedy comes from.
That tracks.
Speaking of tying back in, yeah, this is where my comedy comes from, is just shit like this, where I just go, well.
Mediums and cultural appropriation.
I mean, if you can't, I mean, it's again, when I was sort of talking about, like, you know, finding what are those things that you just have to talk about, those things that are just, like, crawling in you, and they're just, like, that's where it comes from. And whatever that is, I mean, and I have, like, an array of it, whether, because I do, you know, in my stand-up, I talk about living in Indian Village, I talk about the country clubs, and I talk about, you know, going to the mediums, I talk about donor conception, because I'm a sperm donor baby, and right now, I'm working on a lot of material about my Catholic upbringing, because that was so much fun.
Woo!
Altar server!
Oh my god. I always wanted to do that only because it meant you got out of class.
This is how much of a fucking little diva I was, because I looked at it as like, I get to be in a play. I get to ring the bells. That's, to me, how I looked at it. I was just like, to me, I was like, ooh, there's blocking.
And also, not to reveal, but I know we've previously discussed how, at different points, we actually both went to the same Catholic school.
Yep.
So good to know that they produce just enough trauma to make stand-up comedians. Just enough, which is really excellent.
I will say, not to compare traumas, but I do feel like I was present for the super dark ages of our Catholic
absolutely.
School. And the reason I say that, and I say that quite confidently, is because the school got so bad. It was so bad. I was in 5th grade was my last year there. And the school got so bad that so many students left that when I left, there was no 6th grade, 7th grade, or 8th grade.
That's insane.
Because that's how many students left because the school got that bad.
Oh my god.
It was... I mean, and I remember my dad, like, talked to the principal, and he was like, so, things are being a little rough. And the principal, like, what the fuck was she gonna do? She was just like, yeah, it's just, you know, it's like a transition year. You know, things happen. I'm like, what? No, lady, you getting feedback.
Yeah.
You're getting notes.
These are the notes you need to take.
You are getting live feedback that shit's going down and you need to change. Because this ain't working.
I remember when I was, like, 1st grade or something, just looking back at the yearbook and being like, there are only 2 8th graders. Seems strange.
Yeah.
And that was it.
No, but that was what happened, and we all left, and it was just like, no, this isn't because, like, you know, we're sensitive, this is because you suck.
Yep. Oh my god. But anyway, back to the comedy. Catholic upbringing jokes. Comedy. You mentioned that video of your mom on TikTok laughing. Got 6 million views. You've gone really mega viral on TikTok. Do you remember how that started? Like, what was the first moment where you're like, oh my god, like, I'm viral? Was it overwhelming? Like, what was it?
It was so fucking weird. It was so weird. Well, because it's like, look, I've been doing Okay, so I have been in New York City now. Hold on, wait a minute. Oh, this is going to be very unfortunate. I moved to New York City in 2010 to pursue acting. I can't remember when I like legitimately started stand up, but like I have been pursuing performing since 2010. And I've had moments of success. I've had moments where it's like I became SAG-AFTRA. I've had moments where it's like I had my first lead role on TV, where I've had where I headlined Caroline's, and I've had I've had my national commercials. But this was different because I had been trying to make online content. I've been trying to produce things, and I've never been like pick of the litter. I've never been the person that everybody has like all backed. I was always the person who was like put in chorus, put on in an ensemble. I was the person who everyone was like, Laura. Like I was never the favorite ever. I always had to fight tooth and nail to get where I was. Never the person that anyone believed in. But I am the person who has come the farthest. And going viral on TikTok, and I know it sounds stupid because it's going viral, and it's like, you can go viral from like, catching a frisbee, but I went viral because of my stand-up. Mm-hmm. And it was one of the most validating things I have ever experienced. Getting floods, waking up to hundreds of comments from people saying, "You're really funny. I want to see you live. When are you having your Netflix special?" And it was overwhelming because I've never experienced that. And it is something where I tell my followers on TikTok very constantly that if I'm going to make it in this industry, it's hands down, it's because of you guys. I have now, my career has taken off because of the success I've had on TikTok, because I've developed a community and these amazing, amazing followers, and that luckily so many of them I now get to call my friends. I've met so many of them in person because they've come to my shows, and it was... I'm getting emotional and choked up over it because it really was, I've just not had that experience. And I'm considerably older than a lot of people on TikTok, and it really was just like, holy fuck, I can do this. Holy shit, I can do this. And it gave me this immense amount of fire, and it just reinvigorated me. And every day I wake up excited to create. I wake up excited for the possibilities. And my followers on TikTok know that because of their support, I am in the process of pitching a TV show right now. I don't know if they know this, but I'm in the process of pitching a movie right now. I'm currently, a production company reached out to me to write a TV series, which we are still writing, but it's also going to get pitched right now. I'm going to have 3 things getting pitched.
That is incredible.
And thank you. And it's because I went viral. Yeah. And I owe so goddamn much to my followers because they are there and they are fucking awesome. And I will never, ever forget the first people who are there to support me, ever. I will always be grateful to them.
That's amazing. And that's so... And your stuff is... Like, your online content, it's so worthy of being viral. Like, it really is so good.
Oh, thank you. I mean, my video today that I posted is bombing, but thank you. It's not doing well, but thank you.
The way of the internet.
It's the way of the internet. I thought it was funny, but apparently no one else does. Sorry, guys. I will try again tomorrow.
But I think what's so specifically cool about your stand-up and then also a lot of your web content is you have not to say you don't branch out outside of this, but so much of it is about donor conception, and it's bringing awareness to something that honestly seems like is such a gigantic issue that gets almost no airtime.
Yeah.
Which is insane. So I know people can like check out your TikTok or also just like read something. But like if you
reading is good. I promote reading. Reading is great. The more you know.
You heard it here first. But if you were to say something like to kind of summarize donor conception and like what you are saying about it, or what you would like people to know, what would you say?
I would say that the infertility industry is the most unregulated branch of medicine. That would be really what it is, and I would say it's you are using the infertility industry to essentially create your child, and you need to be doing significantly more research on that. And it's very upsetting to me how, now, to be fair, parents are lied to, but you need to be doing significantly more research than you are. And it is very frustrating to me because at this point I've had so many conversations with recipient parents who I'm like, you didn't do any research. And this is literally about the birth of your child. And you didn't check any of the goddamn laws. Wasn't your best choice.
Yeah.
Wasn't your best choice. I'm just saying, you had a few of them, wasn't your best choice. Yeah, and now your child gets to pay for it, so lucky them.
Yay.
Yay, I'm going to get a DM from them in 15 years saying, help! Because that's what I do. I get literally DMs from donor-conceived children every fucking week now asking for help and resources. Every week. Easily.
I was going to ask...
Easily once a week.
I was going to ask you, like, has there been... Because especially given I really love asking this question to people who have massive social media followings, but I think especially in your case, because you're talking about something that's so specific and such a personal experience that a lot of people share, like, so you do get a lot of messages from other people, or is there anyone specifically that's really stood out to you as been a response, or is it more just people asking like, hey, help? I
would say there's two different I would say forums. One and I've gotten a few messages like this, and it's meant the world to me, is that I've gotten a bunch of women who are like, I've always wanted to try stand-up, but I've never felt like I could, and you as a female doing stand-up comedy have given me the confidence to try. And that just is like, motherfucker, all right, that just warms my cold dead heart to hear that. And it really does, because stand-up and comedy is for everybody, and the fact that comedy has been gatekept for so long is so upsetting, and it's so sad, and who am I the fuck in this world? But if yes, you need to hear that permission to go try, I'm more than happy to give it to you, and if you want, I will be there on your first open mic. And I have, and there's been a bunch of people who I have met through TikTok where I've literally been connected with them, and I'm like, I will take you to your first open mic.
That is so amazing.
Yeah. No, I've taken, because it's like, no, if you want to try it, I'm going to be there with you, I will hold your hand, and I will help you do it. And there's been a bunch of people where I've taken them to their first open mic. And I have another one coming up, actually. But then the other set of messages that I get that is very surprising is from donor-conceived people, and the horror stories that they tell me is just unending. Like, it's just the shit that some of these donor-conceived adults have gone through, or children have gone through, is just like, motherfucker. The lies that they have been told, or the shit the industry has done to them, is just like, it's so bad. Those never stop being hard to read. And that's always really, really hard. And it's unending. That's hard.
Between stand-up and, like, the infertility industry, you're kind of covering two topics that are for, like, women in stand-up specifically. I think that it's kind of like I can do that now. And also infertility, like, I'm rambling, but it's two things.
I love rambling.
That are so, exactly. This is like borderline wild that we're in right now. But it's 2 things that make people feel seen, I think is what I'm getting at. So it doesn't surprise me that you get a lot, but I'm sure that's a lot of messages. I should have clarified, not just like a lot. But I think it's so cool that you're you're so active in being like, oh, you're responding to me, I'm gonna respond back. Like, I think that's just very admirable in an industry where people are just like, no, I'm too cool for this. Get away.
Actually, it's a funny joke with me and my followers, because apparently, like, I didn't know this, but like, I literally respond to almost every comment. Not every comment, but I like respond to apparently like significantly more than like usually like apparently what content creators do. And I find that so weird, because to me, I'm like, you're giving me your time.
Yeah.
You're giving me your time. And also, as a stand-up comedian, I view stand-up as a dialogue between me and the audience. And I'm like, you're my audience, so I'm gonna fucking talk to you. This is cool as shit. And I'm like, you think my stuff's funny? I'm gonna talk to you. Hell yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm sorry. It's cool. I find it to be really neat. So, yeah, I mean, I read almost every single comment. I try and respond to a fuckload of them, as much as I literally in my head can. And yeah, no, I do, because it's cool. I find it cool. I don't understand why people think like they don't want to respond to their followers because like, I'm above that. I'm like, what the fuck are you on? You're not above that.
It's so true.
This is cool. This is cool. The hell's wrong with you? You're just being an idiot. Like I no, that's some mean girl bullshit that I don't.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. Maybe it's because of my age. Maybe because I'm just like, fuck that shit. No, you respond. It's cool.
Yeah, no, I agree. I also think that's very cool.
It's so cool. People are responding to your shit. It's fucking cool. Hell yes, you respond. And it's also, it's like, you know, as a stand-up comic, you understand how important it is to develop a relationship with the people in the audience and to cultivate it. And so for me, it's like, no, I want to have a relationship with, and I really have developed friendships with like a lot of my earlier followers, like some of my first ones. Yeah, we have our cell phones with each other. We communicate via cell phone now, because we've just developed that relationship, and it's really fucking cool. It's really freaking cool.
That's so amazing. Oh my goodness. But yeah, so we are winding down on time now, but one last question. Is there anything you wish
I have to get into the last, all right.
Get ready. Is there anything you wish people would ask you about? Like, it doesn't have to be comedy related. Like, is there anything that you're like, oh, no one ever asked me about this thing?
Well, people are now asking me, because I've recently made some videos about it, because it's just something I just haven't talked about. But no one, I'm never asked or talked, or anyone ever talks to me about my obsession with cooking and baking.
Oh my gosh. Wait, so what kind of cooking and baking?
I do a lot.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Well, all right. So tell me, I would say, all right, if you were coming over to my house, like let's say you were coming over to my house in the winter, and I wanted to go all out. I am going to make from scratch coq au vin. I am going to make homemade crusty French bread. I'm going to make homemade herbed compound butter to go along with it. We are going to make tartiflette. We're going to make a mixed green salad with gorgonzola, toasted almonds, red grapes, fig balsamic vinaigrette. Maybe I'll make some roasted shallots, and then for dessert, I'm going to make a creme brulee.
Oh my gosh. That's incredible.
I love cooking and baking, and that was, so like, for me, like how I paid my bills in the earlier stages of me being an actor and a stand-up comic was I was a nanny and I was a private chef.
Wait, so like were you a private chef in people's like houses, or like?
What I did cater some parties, but also what I would do is literally just make them like a fuckload of food to last them for the whole week, and then I would come back and do it all over again.
That is so cool. Oh my gosh, the ever interesting life of Laura. Hi. But yeah, so where can people find you on social media? And
I mean, obviously on TikTok. So I'm there. I'm everything. All of my handles are Laura High Five.
Awesome.
So it's super easy. That is probably the best thing I ever came up with was Laura High Five. I do think that was peak Laura writing. I think I'm still chasing that dragon of chasing the Laura High Five.
You hit the mountaintop.
I hit the mountaintop. I saw it. It was glorious. It was high. Ha. Yeah, I would definitely say the cooking would be the big one. But social media, Laura High Five everywhere. That's
amazing. Me. Well, thank you so much for talking to us today, and make sure to check out episode 4 of Please Help.
Please help.